Hey everyone, it's Linguist. Today I'm gonna be streaming some medium readings and channeling. I've been guided to do some channeling today, so I'm gonna do that once some folks come in. And yeah, in the meantime, I'm going to play something. I enjoyed playing PowerWash last time. That was pretty fun. Start with that and see where we get. Last time it took like 3 hours pretty much to do one section. That was pretty wild. Oh, okay. Oh my god, look at that. That looks freaking cute. And it looks clean already. It's like I lowered my volume so much. But it's gonna be pretty effective if I just keep going like this. Mm. At the same time, last time I was like, playing, I was thinking maybe I should do a deep clean right off the bat. Yeah, once some folks gather, then we do some reading. I don't think I have like queue set up or anything, so it doesn't really matter. It's just but like well first come first serve basically. Yeah, I was like reading a ton more information from Neville Goddard's teachings, and oh my god, that was so mind blowing. Like it just makes so much sense. Like when you look at it, like after having that reading with Jenny where she channeled that like thoughts and emotions form the belief system. So I'm like, okay, well, there's so much clarity there because I was even wondering, like, does it start just with a thought or what? And then once that got clarified, that you gotta have an emotion to it so that it kind of confirms in the body, like, yeah, this is true. So it's kind of wild thinking that once you perceive as something to be true through the feeling of it, then you really start living that reality. That's kind of wild. That's why he was saying, like, you gotta feel it so that you can experience it, because without feeling, you're not gonna really experience it. That's why when you visualize, it's important to really feel what it is you're visualizing. And like whenever I visualize like cuddling with something or someone, that gives me such a sense of like relief and this gentle feeling. It's like, how do you even describe it? Like when you cuddle with someone and you just feel this absolute softness and gentleness, and then you just shift into that state of being as if it was really happening. And then whenever you walk around people, you really feel like as if you were doing it with people, but it's like a different kind of feeling. It's like, how do you describe that really? You know, it's as if every person was that person that you were cuddling with, or whatever it is, like maybe a pet or something, and you just feel the same feelings for everyone around you. That's kind of mind blowing to me. At least that's what I've experienced, and that's why I love visualization so much now, is because you can really tune yourself into your desired reality just by, coming up with some visualization that resonates with you, and it's like, oh, this is my preferred state of being, so this is what I want to do, or this is what I want to feel. So then before it manifests, you really just say to yourself, okay, this is what I want to feel. And then you just look for something that might bring that emotion to you. It's kind of interesting because whenever I think about it, it's like you have to really use your imagination, because like I really had to, because I'm like, okay, well, if I want to feel gentle, what would be the visualization for that? So I had to really come up with something. And what I've experienced is talking to myself in a very soothing and gentle voice while describing something as gentle. And in my case, I would be just telling myself that the creator is very gentle and loving and kind. And whenever I think about it, it just brings that gentleness into me, and I really feel it. And then I shift into that state of being, and my heart opens, and I just feel fantastic. So it's like really finding what works for you and using that visualization for yourself so that you can really use it for any kind of state of being. You can bring up passion, you can bring up excitement, just about anything. Like I would visualize myself like clapping in my hands and just some excited about something, like see sparks in my eyes, and just really like playful and things like that. And then within like a minute, I can feel the shift the more I visualize it. So it's like staying persistent on that vision, because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what you're seeing in your mind and what you're seeing with your eyes. So then you're just experiencing it as your reality. And interestingly enough, you start the momentum after 17 seconds. And after that, everything that's a representative of that vibration starts attracting itself to you. So then you start experiencing that as your reality. I really like that quote from Abraham. Oh my God, it's such a fun quote. I gotta find it. I really feel like it's worth finding. It just resonated with me so much. So they said, when you get happy, what isn't happy can't come near you. And if something that's not happy is coming near you, you're not as happy as you think you are. So I feel like that really is true. That's what I've experienced for myself. Whenever I'm in a happy state of being or really excited and passionate, then it's so mind blowing what I'm attracting into my reality when I'm in that state of being, because it just amplifies my state of being, whatever it is I'm doing. And what is really helpful is that for you to maintain that state of being, you have to respond from that state of being with that state of being. So whatever comes your way is responding consciously to whatever is happening, because you're still having some things active in your vibration that you may not prefer, right? Or you have a belief that says, oh, this is not something I prefer, right? But you're in a different state of being. So whenever you respond with a thought from a belief, that like a negative belief, then what you're doing, you're taking yourself out of your preferred state of being and you shift into a different state of being. Now your vibration goes down and now you're feeling differently. But that's because if you're conscious enough and you want to stay in your preferred state of being, you respond with that state of being, within that state of being. You don't start, how would I say that? Like, it's like if I'm excited about something, I want to respond with excitement no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like for other people. I would just laugh about something. I would just literally laugh as my response. It doesn't matter what it looks like, I just laugh. And then it allows me to stay in my state of being that I prefer. And that's it. That's how I maintain it. It's all about how you choose to respond. So it's like really being conscious about your own response because you're either staying in your preferred state of being or you're shifting into a different one. And that's why there's this polarity going on, like up and down, because there are unconscious beliefs that are telling you, oh, this is good, oh, this is bad. So you have to respond this and this and that, you know. But if you don't do that, if you just say, oh, I want to feel passionate, you just respond with passion, whatever that means to you. For me, I'm just, I would just basically, I guess it would depend on the situation because if someone is telling me something and that's not something that I resonate with, I would just be quiet. I would just be quiet and I would observe so that I remain in my state of being. If if it's something funny, then I laugh. Then I may shift between like passion and joy. So it really depends on the kind of situation. Like if it's something that I'm observing that's happening for someone else that is not what I prefer, I just keep quiet. I just observe and allow myself to stay in my vibration regardless of what's happening. But if they're laughing and saying something funny, then I just join and we kind of have a conversation about it, laugh together and things like that. So it really depends on what you want to do with it. So it really comes down to being conscious about your belief systems because then if your body is responding in a way that you don't prefer, that's already your first clue you have a belief that's out of alignment. If you don't have a feeling about something, oh, hello, how are you? Have I met you before? I don't recognize the name, but the buds are looking like it's Solace Luna. Unless you change your nickname, it might not be you, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Just talking my way through whatever comes through, you know. Just talking about belief systems, and I am just playing PowerWash game, and in the meantime, just kind of allowing the information to flow through me. But I will be doing some channeling, and like I can do medium readings or respond to questions people have while people are coming in. So basically, while I'm waiting for people, I'm just playing around so that I'm kind of like also having fun in the meantime. But yeah, the plan is to do some readings and do some channeling. I've been guided to do a channeling with Ra. Oh, okay. So you are not Solace Luna, so that's cool. Okay, cool. I streamed before. I streamed like a couple of years ago, but then I stopped for personal reasons, and now I'm back to kind of help out with the information that I've learned in the meantime. So that's what I'm doing basically. Are you a streamer yourself, or are you just watching? That's a pretty fun game. You get into it and get into all of these little corners here. Oh, okay. Oh, you are planning. What are you gonna be streaming when you do? I think that's so much fun. Oh yeah, totally understandable. I get it. Yeah. But yeah, what I'm basically teaching through this streaming is manifesting consciously by becoming aware of your belief systems that are out of alignment with your true self and then how to use thought and momentum to start attracting what you desire, and also how to use visualization to keep the momentum going and keep attracting what you desire in your reality. So it's basically maintaining your preferred state of being, so that what you desire can come to you. So that makes sense. At least that's what's been working for me. So I'm basically combining the wisdom of Bashar, Abraham Hicks, and Neville Goddard. These have been monumental and fundamental in my life, and it's helped me transform my life completely within the last 2 years. So I'm just deeply grateful, and I believe it's absolutely worth following their teachings. So yeah, there's that. So that's why I'm so deep into like studying the belief systems that we have, because that's like the blueprint of our reality. So whenever you are experiencing something, anything, what you perceive in your reality, you're basically acting out of your belief system. So it's coming down to realizing what belief systems you have, especially the ones that are out of alignment. Once you become aware of them, you can drop them, replace them, and then whatever comes into your reality will shift, because your point of attraction will change. And as your point of attraction changes, your experiences change. The people that are in your life change. What you do in your life changes. Like everything changes according to your new belief system. So it's really becoming aware of your patterns of thinking, the choices that you make, why you make them, the motivational mechanism behind your choices, because we always act from what's more pleasurable and less painful. And so when we do that, sometimes we choose things that we don't prefer, but that's because we don't know why we're motivated to make those choices, right? So once you become aware of why you would say that this is more pleasurable and less painful, that's something that you actually prefer. So you would make a choice that you don't prefer. But somehow you have to be defining that reality as more negative and more painful than what you do. Then what you don't prefer. Sorry. So I had to work through that and realize that the definitions that I had were just not aligning with who I was, because I would say, oh, this is not safe, or this is not um this can lead to some sort of discomfort. And whenever you are in discomfort, your current discomfort may be more pleasurable in a sense than the kind of discomfort you can experience, because it can be so scary to get out of your comfort zone, because you don't know what happens and you don't know how to handle it. And so if you don't know how to handle the situation, you would rather stay in the current pain and not really move forward anywhere. So it's really coming down to asking yourself questions like, well, what do I have to believe to be true about myself in relation to the situation that is making me think, feel, and behave the way that I'm thinking, feeling, and behaving? And so once you start asking yourself those kind of questions, and you can use your imagination to do that, you can come up with whatever questions you can. I would also ask, like, well, what belief is telling me that it makes sense to think this way? Or what belief is telling me that it makes sense to feel this way or behave this way? And especially if another person is involved in the situation, it's like, well, what am I projecting outward? What belief am I projecting outward that I'm so scared to look at within myself that I'm choosing to project on someone else? So once you start asking yourself those questions, and I would write them down, because when you write down those questions, you basically intensify and focus the energy more. And what you get is, you may get an inspiration in your mind that will be like a memory or a situation that didn't necessarily play out, but it can show you what could have been, or how your mind is perceiving it. So it's like telling you a story of whatever your perception of the situation is. And so then based on that, you can analyze what it is that you believe to be true about yourself, and that story is telling you about someone else, which has nothing to do with the other person, really. It's just that there's a definition that's negative, that's telling you, oh, I don't like this somehow. It's making me uncomfortable. So now you're experiencing sensation in your body that's making it feel like it's true. So then, because of the feeling that you're feeling, you're experiencing it as your reality. And so, because of that, you're attracting that in your reality, possibly with multiple people, because the feeling is exactly what's attracting it into your reality. So, it's like sometimes you get in a relationship and you don't end up really well, and then you get into another relationship and it's the same thing. It's because there is a belief that's literally generating that state of being within you through the feeling, through your perception, through your thoughts. They vibrate at a specific frequency, and what happens, you start attracting those people into your life. So you're just attracting the same scenarios without necessarily dealing with the root idea of where it's coming from. But there's just a belief that's telling you, oh, maybe I'm not loved, or I'm abandoned, or rejected, or whatever. And then, because of the belief, you start attracting that into your life, and so then it just keeps playing out with different people. But that's just a belief that you have to become aware of. So in order for you to change a belief, you have to become aware of what the belief is. Because if you don't know what the belief is, you can't change it. It's like looking for something. You're looking for something, you don't know what it is, so you can't like change what you don't have in your hands, basically. You got to find it first. But once you find it, then you can choose a new definition, a new belief. And then based on that belief, once you feel the new belief, that's when it will become your reality. And I say that with confidence because it's interesting. I was working on my belief systems, and I was like, well, how do I like incorporate the new beliefs if I've found out what the old ones are? But I had to really feel the new ones. I really had to like feel them in my reality so that I could really say, oh, this is true for me because I think it, I feel it, now it's my reality. But if I'm not feeling it and still feeling the old ones because of the emotions, then, it can't really change if you're holding on to it out of judgment or something. So it's like if you're holding on to belief, there's a good chance that even after finding it, that you can be doing it out of judgment for yourself for whatever reason you're choosing that. So once you stop that and you say, oh, well, I don't really have to judge myself, I can just let it go. And you can do that through also visualization and just say, let's say a belief is not something you prefer. So you can imagine like a bag, you put the belief into a bag and you throw it like into violet flame or any kind of element. You can choose an element like water, air, violet flame, fire, whatever works for you. And then use that. You can bury it in the earth, and you can use that to really let go of the emotion, and that way you will transmute it, and you can choose a new feeling that will replace the old one. Then the whole point is to choose the feeling that's like joyful and exciting, because that would be the opposite of a fear-based belief. Like if you were to experience anxiety or something like that, you have to choose something that actually the opposite of that. So it's like something exciting, something joyful or peaceful or anything like that. So you really have to train your body to learn how to feel those things at will. And you can do that through practice of visualizing. So it's like when you do a visualization, visualize it in as much detail as you can, as if it was so real for you that you couldn't really distinguish between you being here and whatever it is that you're visualizing, because then it will turn into your reality. And so the more you visualize it, the more you train your body to feel that way. And so then that will become dominant in your vibration, and you will be attracting based on that state of being. So that's what I'm doing like every day now. I would visualize my preferred reality, where I live, where I walk. So you have to visualize the end result of it. You have to see yourself already being in the reality that you prefer, doing the things that you prefer to be doing, not starting doing them, but like the end result, you're already doing that. So let's say if I were streaming, right? If I wanted to start streaming, I would be seeing myself already streaming and talking to people and like, and see myself really passionate and excited about what I'm doing. And so it's interesting because that's how I literally got myself to stream, is because I started visualizing myself streaming, because I didn't feel like doing it yet, but then I was like, well, this is something that I want to do to be of service to others. So, okay, how do I get myself doing it? So I started visualizing myself already streaming, feeling passion, really excited, joyful, and things like that. And so now as I'm streaming, it's a lot easier for me to feel that way, because now my subconscious is like, oh, this is the reality that she prefers. This is how she visualizes it. This is how she sees it. So now, as I'm moving into that reality that I imagined, I am in that reality. I am in that vibration that is feeling it. So it's basically, I manifested my own reality through that feeling of passion. Like I really wanted to feel passionate, and that's exactly what I'm experiencing right now. So that's why when you visualize, you want to visualize the state of being that you are in, not just the things that you're doing, but really see how you're feeling, because then you will shift into that reality that generates that feeling, and then everything that's a representative of that feeling will come to you. So you don't have to make anything happen. The only thing you really have to make happen, in a sense, is to make a choice. And how you make a choice is up to you. But when you decide on your state of being, that will be the key for you. You have to decide on how you want to feel. And once you do that, you will be attracted to the things that will allow you to feel that way. So let's say if I visualize streaming, for example, right? Then I'm like, I wake up and then I have a thought. It's like, oh, I could be streaming right now, because I visualized. I already created like a blueprint for this idea, and it popped in. It's like, oh, this is an available choice for you. This is what you can do right now. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds exciting, because I created this belief that dreaming equals excitement and passion. So now I'm more drawn to doing that, because I created that association of feeling that way. And because I want to feel that way, it's like, oh, okay, this is like the best optimal option for me right now, because I created this association with the best possible feeling, because I absolutely love feeling passionate. And so I'm like, okay, this is the one thing that I believe is going to bring passion in me right now. And so I'm like, okay, I don't have another choice at the moment that makes me feel like streaming would feel. So that's why it was a lot easier to make that choice and to say, okay, this is exactly what I want to be doing right now. So that's how you can get yourself to do things that you were previously afraid of doing. You really have to create a new association with doing it. And the same thing with, let's say, writing a book or something like that. If you were to visualize yourself writing books, you want to visualize the end result. You want to say the book is already done, you know. But if you want to just write for fun, you can visualize yourself just writing, but you can also visualize the end point of writing, like say an essay or something. You want to visualize that and really feel into it, like how excited you are after finishing it. So then you attract yourself to that state of being, and it will be generating that state of being, because you will be doing things exactly in the way that will bring up that state of being, because you already created that association, and your subconscious will be giving that out automatically. And that's the same thing as, you have a fear-based belief. Let's say you do public speaking or something, and you're really anxious, right? So then, because you already have that belief running, right, the program, whenever you go on a stage, there may be anxiety or something like that. But that's because the subconscious already knows, oh, this is the choice she's making. This is what the program we're going to be running right now. So it activates that in you. So until you find what the belief is and realize what definition you've created that generating that state of being, you know, you're gonna feel that way. But once you do find what it is, then you can change it. And how you change it is first you become aware of the belief, and then once it makes no sense to you, then you drop it. So it has to make no sense to you, because if it makes sense to hold on to it, there is another belief that's making sense of it. So there is always like a root core belief, you know, that's saying, oh, we have to be running these programs because let's say I'm not feeling worthy or not good enough and stuff like that. And if there is this core belief that says I'm not good enough, then there are like multiple secondary beliefs that are attached to that core belief. And so what happens is then all those programs are running and you're avoiding those choices that you would rather be doing to be successful or to feel successful. But you see, ironically, for you to feel successful or to be successful, you have to feel successful before it happens. So the whole paradox and irony of the situation is that you have to feel it first before it happens, because once you feel it, then it happens, not the other way around. And that's why whenever you feel fear, whatever you're attracting is what amplifies the fear. And that's how you're attracting that situation to begin with, is because that fear is, let's say, is active in your vibration. So that's what I'm saying. So that's pretty cool with all these teachings. You can really dive so deep into it, and yeah, it can be really transformative once you ask yourself those questions. Whenever a negative feeling comes up, you're like, okay, well, what do I have to believe to be true about myself to be feeling this way? Like, what belief is generating this? And you just write it down and then see what your reality brings you, because it can reflect to you through like an experience, or another person will say something to you and you'll be like, oh, now I can relate this to this. Now this makes sense because it reminds me of this and this, something that happened in childhood or whatever. And now you just make associations and connections, and so it just makes sense now. So that's how you can discover negative beliefs, is you really like dive deeper into yourself and you start paying attention to your environment, because your environment is literally just reflecting back to you what's active in your vibration. So that's what it's doing. So there is that. Oh, I clean that pretty good here. Pretty interesting how I went into like in a circle, so to say. But yeah, I'm totally fascinated with like Bashar's teachings. Like, I feel like that was such a great start for me personally, because as soon as I started digging deeper into my belief system, I started raising my vibration. And because I started raising my vibration, I was able to work through Abraham's teachings. Because when there were negative beliefs that were preventing me from feeling excited, for example, listening to Abraham Hicks didn't make sense to me just yet, because I wasn't allowing myself to feel excited. So I had to completely change my attitude so that I could actually hear them, you know. But if I don't have the intention to, let's say, feeling excited, it makes no sense to listen to something, right? So that's where I was like, okay, well, I worked first on my belief systems, and then I choose to do something else, like actually building the life that I want. So that was pretty interesting. But now it's like also realizing like what core beliefs you have, because you know, when you feel that you're not worthy, you're not really allowing yourself to live your life or like do things that would be exciting to you or whatever, you know. And when there are emotions that are in association with those beliefs, you know, you're just acting on the old stuff and not really moving forward. So that's why it's kind of important to ask yourself those questions, because once you do, you can really liberate yourself from the mind too. Because what happens is once you find out what the negative beliefs are, you become more and more grounded in your reality, because the thoughts that are in association with negative belief systems, they start falling away naturally. And so you wake up more grounded, you wake up feeling more present in the moment, because the old program is not running those thoughts and feelings anymore. So you just find yourself really like liberated from those things. So that's pretty neat. And especially like when it comes down to like different areas of their lives, it's like relationships or money and things like that. Like really discovering those beliefs can be truly life changing. At least it was for me anyway. But it's also, comes down to your desire to find what the beliefs are, because once you do, you can really drop a lot of bags that are not yours in the first place. So, yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's pretty cool stuff. I'm like so fascinated with the idea of like maintaining positive momentum, because once you learn how to do that through thought and emotion, you can really create some mind blowing stuff in your life. But it also comes down to like acting on your state of being, because once you do, um, you then start attracting people to you, that you can share your gifts with. And those gifts are as simple as a smile, as just a hi and things like that. Like it's nothing super crazy or whatever. But like you always have something to share with others. And so pretty important that we do. I feel like it's gonna be real neat looking. That's and then we just I wonder how long it's gonna take. So it's kind of interesting how Abraham Hicks is talking about like you have the emotional scale. So in order for you to get from a low vibrational emotion to a higher vibrational emotion, you gotta take it step by step in a sense, so that you have access to the thoughts that feel better. Because there's a gap between the emotion, you kind of want to find just slightly better feeling thoughts and just move along that. So just something slightly feeling better. For example, if I say, "Oh, this does not look good," or "This doesn't feel good," so you want to flip it and say, "Maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. Maybe it's actually here for a positive reason." So if I choose to stay in a positive state of being, no matter what happens, then I can always extract a positive meaning out of it and get a positive effect from the situation. So I don't really have to perceive it as bad in any way. It's here to show me something, because I know that whatever it is that I'm attracting is always in my active vibration. And because it's my active vibration, I can just relax and perceive what it is that I'm creating through my thoughts and emotions. So there's nothing bad in whatever is happening. It just allows me to see more clearly what it is that I choose to create for myself, even though I don't always know what it is that I'm creating. But because it's activating my vibration, I can just laugh at it and say, oh, well, I created this because I was thinking something like this. And, it's just showing me where I'm vibrating at. And there's nothing bad at all. It's just showing me what kind of creator I am at this point in time. And so I can just look at it, smile, and say, oh, okay, now that I've created this, I can change what I want to create in my reality. And so I can just choose to feel better. And because I choose to feel better, I feel better. And so you can just find thoughts that really resonate with you. And they can just be something absolutely simple, like what I was just saying. It doesn't have to be something absolutely mind blowing, which is kind of funny. And the reason I say that is because I was actually, when I was experimenting with thoughts, I would straight up go to unconditional love. And when I would do that, I would like sort of jumping over that gap that I had. And ironically, it worked. So it was kind of interesting. It took me a little, like a few minutes maybe, to jump from one to another state of being. But that was also because I was so persistent in my desire to feel unconditional love that it worked for me. But if you want to allow yourself to feel better, like not try to fill in that gap from like really low to really high, I would suggest to find relief first. So you want to find thoughts that bring relief first, and then you start going up the emotional scale. So it's easier to do it like, yeah, I would say it's easier to do it that way. I was just going all the way in because I didn't know what else to do, really. I didn't have a better idea, so I just went straight to unconditional love because that was my preferred state of being. And so I would just think literally to myself that I am unconditional love. And because I was thinking that I was unconditional love, it was manifesting in my reality. And then I would feel that way. My heart would open and I would feel that for myself and other people, for anything around me. And so I was just jumping over. But you can always find like thoughts that feel more relieving. And then when you do that, it's easier for you to find thoughts that feel more optimistic, more joyful, more hopeful. So that's actually, I found like on Facebook, there was this emotional scale. I saved it on my phone. So in order for you to go up the emotional scale, so let's look at the very bottom. The very bottom, like the 22nd emotion, right? But there are like 5 of them in there, like in that category of the ones that are like similar vibration, so to speak. So the fear, grief, desperation, despair, and powerlessness at the very bottom. So in order for you to get from that state of being, from that emotion higher, you have to find some thoughts that feel more like insecurity, guilt, and unworthiness, which is kind of ironic, right? You would think, like, why would you want to feel unworthy? But it feels better than fear. It feels better than that. So once you get there, the next one up is jealousy. So you want to find thoughts that feel more into that. Then higher you have hatred and rage. So you want to find thoughts that feel like that. Then you have revenge. Then higher you have anger. Then discouragement, blame, worry, doubt, disappointment, overwhelm, frustration, irritation, and impatience. Impatience are on the same one. Then you go higher pessimism, then higher boredom, then contentment, then hopefulness, optimism, then positive expectation and belief. Then you go higher to enthusiasm, eagerness, and happiness, and then you have passion, and then the very highest one would be joy, appreciation, empowerment, freedom, and love. So you have to find thoughts that go up the emotional scale so that it's easier for you to go from one to another and sort of quickly shift the momentum and change your state of being. So you just really have to find thoughts that feel that way for you. And like I said, visualization has been really helpful for me to do that because it's the quickest, I feel like it's the quickest way to do that, because visualization, whenever I was visualizing like snuggling and cuddling with something, um, I was instantly shifting my state of being from anger, for example, to love. Absolutely, like within just a minute, I was feeling it already. So visualization is very powerful to shift your state of being, and you can really get really skilled at it once you practice more. You can find ways to feel that way more and more easily. Where? Oh, I can actually jump up here. Nice. Yeah, it's pretty cool already. And then, of course, like that visualization kind of aligns with Neville Goddard's teachings. I kind of really like the idea of like living in the end, because then you really don't have to worry about the how of it, because you don't really need to make it happen at all. All you have to do is just be the state of being. And then once you're in the state of being, everything falls into place automatically. That's why you want to visualize the end result of it, because then everything will be in perfect alignment for you to do that, and you don't have to try to figure out how to make it work. It will work automatically because you will be in a state of being that will channel what's needed and attract what's needed for that to happen. And because you don't have to control anything through the ego, it will be really effortless for you to do that, to be honest with you. It's like you're streaming and allowing, let's say, the flow of information to flow through you. Once you're in that state of being, it just becomes really effortless. And so you just you just do whatever you do that continues to maintain that state of being. And so you just relax and allow for that flow. Because if you think about it, we don't really create anything. We just select what or from what already exists. So nothing really comes from us. The higher self conceives, the brain receives, and then um, it goes through our heart and then through our mind, and then that energy translates into what we perceive with our eyes. And so we don't really conceive of any ideas. We channel ideas all the time, but it's like they filter through our belief systems, those ideas, and higher self always sends some kind of inspiration to act on. So, but if it filters through like a negative belief system, then you're gonna feel fear, and you're not gonna really want to do that or act on that. But if it filters through a positive belief, and you're like, oh yeah, this is something that I can do and something that can be really enjoyable, then you go act on that, and higher self continues to send you more of those things to act on, because you're not really resisting and you're not thinking through a negative belief that something bad will happen, for example. You just continue acting on things. And that's why I kind of really like the idea that Bashar suggested, the 5-step formula, where you act on whatever is exciting for you in the moment. Just find whatever it is that excites you. It can be just absolutely anything, something absolutely simple. Out of all the choices that you have, just find the one that sounds the best for you. And you just act on that without any insistence, assumption, or expectation of what the outcome should be. You do it to the best of your ability, and then just do it until you can take it no further. You just do that, and then you constantly investigate your belief system if you're doing it, but then something fearful comes up, or some kind of discomfort that gets you out of that state of being that you were in while you were excited. Because once you're excited, but all of a sudden you don't feel excited, that's because you're getting yourself out of that state of being of excitement. And let's say it can shift to like anxiety or something else. And so that's when it comes down to like really investigating your belief system, and finding out why you're all of a sudden in a state of being that you don't prefer when you were just excited 5 minutes ago or something like that, you know. So then again, you can ask yourself questions and really use your imagination. Because for me, what was helpful is to realize that I had to start asking myself, well, what belief is telling me that it makes sense to do these things? Because once I can discover what the motivational mechanism is, then I can really look deeper into myself and say, oh, well, this makes absolutely no sense. So I don't really have to hold on to it and just release emotion through something like EFT, you know. That was really helpful for me to do that. And then I took like 9D breath work. Um, it's not like a class, but it was like an hour long breath work, uh, I guess course you can say. And I feel like I released so much from my body. It was amazing. And I feel like that would be something beneficial to do like maybe every week, because the the state of being you get into is just absolutely mind blowing, and you really feel that breath in your body. It just like translates into like so many sensations, and like it just feels like a lot of emotion is leaving your body. So I would totally recommend that. Yeah, breath work is very powerful apparently. But I also like notice whenever I do like three quick breaths in and one long out, it kind of gets me in the channeling state. It allows me to like focus better, like I would do. And then you just like do that for a couple of minutes, and you really feel like you're getting into the gamma zone, and you start channeling information with much more ease. So that's pretty awesome. I have like a bunch of videos and like meditations where Bashar kind of guides you how to get into gamma state. I kind of so funny. I took a QHHT course, and like listening to Dolores Cannon do like the hypnosis procedure. It's so funny. I learned from her how to, in a sense, get myself into theta state without the other person, and it helped me so much actually reprogram my subconscious mind, because I would use that technique to literally um get my subconscious to listen. So I would get myself into alpha and theta, and I would literally give myself instructions of what it is that I wanted to experience instead, and it helped me reprogram a bunch of programs. And so what I would do, I would start talking to myself in a very, very like very calming and soothing voice, and I would really lower it. I would just say, I am very calm. I am very, very calm and relaxed. Calm and relaxed. Calm and relaxed. And I can just feel like from that soothing voice that I'm using, like in a very like slow, very soothing, very calm. And I would just talk to myself like that, and I could just feel myself shifting into that state of being where I'm like really flowy, really calm, very present. So I would just tell myself that I'm very calm, relaxed, and present. And so as I do that for a couple of minutes, I would all of a sudden like detach from all the energies around me, and I would just feel how present I am. Like I could hear the noises outside of myself, but I was so present in my body that it felt so blissful. And so I started doing that more and more and more, and it helped me like get myself used to that state of being, especially at work with other people. That was very, very beneficial. That allowed me to stay in my state of being. And yeah, every night is just like a blessing. And so it's like really trying like different techniques and see what works for you. And yeah, I'm kind of grateful because I kind of thought I would be doing QHHT work, and I'm still pretty confident that it's a really good possibility to do this work. But I'm just so grateful that I took the course just to learn how to use the voice, because the voice is the key. The voice is always the key. How you talk to yourself is the key. Because once you use the voice, let's say, of confidence and passion, you shift into that state of being. So it really depends on how you want to use your voice, and how you use your voice becomes your guiding point towards your next state of being, so to speak. So that's why I kind of like to, it's interesting because it really, really works whenever there are noises around. It helps me in a sense to get into that state of being with much more ease, because I like tune my focus so much into what it is that I want to experience, and it allows me to like put myself in. It's like there's this perception that I'm in my own universe, and everything else is like behind the glass walls. And so there's only myself in my room of experiences. And so whatever it is that I'm telling myself and thinking is what I'm experiencing. And so I've been doing that, and it's been working so great for me, and I would totally recommend that to anybody. But again, that comes down to how you use your voice, how you want to use your voice, the kind of state of being that you want to be in. Um, and I would also tell myself, like in the mind, and also like using the soft and gentle and soothing voice, that I'm passionate about being passionate. So it's not necessarily to get yourself just calm and relaxed. It's also like calm yourself down first. Once you do that, your state of being becomes, or your subconscious becomes so receptive but then you can tell it whatever it is that you prefer. So let's say I can say to myself that I'm passionate about being passionate, and I continue repeating that to myself very slowly so that my subconscious listens. And because I already have an association of what that feels like, my subconscious is like, oh, this is what she wants to feel like. I'm going to shift her into that state of being now because that's what she's asking for. So it's really being conscious about um what it is that you want to experience for yourself, and talk about that reality, think about that reality, and like write about that reality, and really drop the old reality. Because let's say what is now is I kind of like that Abraham Hicks said, what is happening right now is like, it's old news basically. And what you want to do is you want to focus on the vision that gets you excited. Because once I realized that I was more and more present in the moment, there wasn't really anything so much exciting in the moment, because I wasn't really generating that excited state of being through a vision that would make me feel like I'm dreaming big and like wanting to experience something specific. So when you use visualization and like talk to yourself and think thoughts that resonate with you, you're in a sense bringing the future into your presence and your present. And so it's like it's like collapsing into this reality. So you begin to perceive what would have been in the future, but it's now becoming your now. But if you're in a state of being that's perceiving future as something opposite, or not opposite, as something separate from now, then you're just chasing the future, but you're never really living it. But if you visualize and you feel into that vision, then you bring it into your present. So that's the whole difference between living in the future out of anxiety and living in the future out of excitement, because you really bring that future into your present, and that becomes your life. That's how you use visualization and like thought to do that. You really want to feel it. And the more you feel it, the more it's active in your vibration. The more it's active in your vibration, that's what you begin to experience more and more and more. Because everything will be attracted to you accordingly. That's a representative of that state of being of yours. And because, you don't really need to make anything happen, you don't need to control anything that's happening outside of you, because why would you want to control something out of lower vibration if you can just allow the universe to bring you exactly what's a match to your state of being? So instead of trying to make it happen for you from the perception of the ego, you can just allow the higher self to bring you exactly what is a representative of that state of being, instead of you assuming that whatever it is that you're trying to make happen is exactly what it is. Because as soon as you start doing that, you get yourself out of that state of being of excitement, and then you get into anxiety of what it is. Like, you start wondering, well, how can I make this happen, why isn't it happening, and things like that. But that's because you're trying to control the outcome. But if you don't control the outcome and just allow the universe to bring you exactly what needs to come, then you just relax and sit back and allow yourself to really just savor the moment, like I'm doing right now. And that's why it feels so, so like, filled with passion for me right now, is because I'm just allowing for it to happen. And that's all. And that's why it feels real nice. Nice. Clean the floors. Well, I'm really excited by getting to the dragon. Not the dragon. To the dragon. To the dinosaur. It's probably the dragon. I call it a dragon. Wow. Oh my god, that's so hilarious. It's pretty fun.
Just feels like whenever you're in that state of being, you get um get a thought of acting on your inspired action. So instead of trying to figure out what the action is, you get inspired to act on a specific thing. And that's pretty important, because then when it's an inspired action, then it will feel really, really effortless for you to do. So, and I feel like I want to do a channeling. And I'm really feeling into it right now. I might use the bathroom real quick, and then I'll come back and I'll do that.
All right, I'm back. I'm gonna start getting into the channeling. I communicate now. In history of humanity, many translations of your history have been misinterpreted by distorted perceptions due to fear-based beliefs. Your history, unknown to you as it is known to us, history repeats itself due to repeating choices, due to repeating perceptions that are out of alignment with your true self. And yet these perceptions are perceptions of the creator. They allow you and through you with the Creator to know itself on many levels that you're not aware of. These are infinite layers within your day to day experience. You must respect your experiences in order for you to have greater understanding of why they are unfolding the way they are. These experiences are for you to learn the lessons you have chosen before incarnating on planet Earth, as you have previously decided with your higher self. These are the lessons that you wanted to learn. May they be of compassion or love or wisdom or balance of the two. These usually manifest as their opposites in order for you to learn how to give yourself love and compassion. Thus, you usually experience as a lack of it, and you may perceive that as a lack coming from yourself and other people. However, chasing these desires must be understood on the level of consciousness. These desires are not to be overcome in any way, but simply to be understood, and from them to be distilled love and light of the infinite creator. In order for the lesson to be learned, there is nothing that shall be overcome within your reality, for that is not a wise decision to make, for you are here to grasp the learnings that you have chosen for yourself and to learn to love them and your experiences within those learnings. These are important and crucial for your growth and evolution of your consciousness, conscious expansion within your reality, allowing others to see how you are experiencing yourself, and also allowing yourself to guide others as you do that. You can serve as an example as you learn more on your path. This is important work in consciousness, by far the most important work that you can have in this incarnation. For some entertainments that your humanity finds amusing, it can be relaxing, it can be distracting. However, we would recommend allowing yourself to jump into the waters of the unknown, unseen, with faith in your heart, walking with your feet upon the ground and knowing that that ground is steady and will hold you as you keep walking your path. You do not need to be afraid of anything that comes into your reality, for that which comes must come, otherwise it would not be there. It is up to you how you experience your reality, for that is your free will of choice. Choice is fundamental within your third dimension, third density reality. Your choice determines which path you're following. It determines which experiences you will have, because your choices determine the polarity. And based on your chosen polarity, your experiences will also be manufactured accordingly. The more aware you are of yourself, the less influenced you are by the logos in terms of the experiences and catalysts, the more aware you are, the more deliberate you become in your creation, the more freedom you experience from the mind complex, the more you're able to manufacture those experiences for yourself through your intention. This is why we recommend meditation as the form of reconnecting with your true self, visualization as another form of connecting with your higher self in order to tap into your preferred state of being and reality. In a sense, this allows you to do so through conscious working. You may see the results upon continuous effort and persistence on your part, for your desire in seeking is fundamental in your continuous growth. And as you continue to persist in your desired reality, to bring that into your future present moment, so to speak, you then allow yourself to be a more deliberate creator and not be swayed by either polarity. However, the more in the middle, the more centered you are in your heart, allowing yourself to open your heart through self acceptance and self love, of greater service you become to others who seek the same love that you do on a continuous basis. Becoming heart centered is a fundamental learning within your reality as you progress towards fourth density evolution, ascension, if you will, as you move forward in your ascension process. Some bodies have fourth density activated body with their third density body. They were they were incarnating with this dualistic body in order to activate fourth density body along the way in order to be able to function within fourth density um, more balanced in a more balanced fashion with a rather rapid succession, rapid rapid progression and expansion of their consciousness, thus allowing the third dimensional body to fall away in a sense in order for the fourth density body to function more properly in a more optimized fashion. The DNA is different, the cells are more packed with light. These are the primary distortions of the fourth density body. That third density body that is heavy, that is less packed with light, dies away as you peel off more of the layers of what you are not. You are then allowing yourself to experience yourself more as your true self, more as the creator. We, as always, would suggest that you use this practice as know yourself, the first step. Second step is accept yourself. Third step, be the creator. Being the creator is realizing your potential as a creator, as a deliberate creator, conscious co-creator with your universe that allows for the power along with love and wisdom to be manifested using the magical personality archetype, thus connecting to your sixth density, a higher self, bringing the power, the love, and the wisdom into this reality through intelligent infinity, transforming it into intelligent energy, allowing that energy to flow according to your intention, which is why intention is crucial in doing any conscious working. You then direct the energy accordingly, and the manifestations are according to your intention. What you put out is what you get back in that sense. You allow yourself to experience the reality that you desire in a more balanced fashion. As you rapidly expand your consciousness through conscious intention, you allow yourself to manufacture experiences at will, bring yourself into your desired state of being, and through the power of your choice, the power of potential, you you can bring into reality miracles, as you would call them, that which is unusual. It is not necessarily learning how to do the magical working. It is remembering who you truly are. And from that point, you simply act as an instrument, as a channel for the love, the force that we would say, the force that flows through you. This force is like an object. It's not so much of an act as it is perceived by your peoples. It is an object. It flows through you and it draws onto itself that which seeks it. It is absolute freedom. The energy is free. It cannot be contained. It cannot be possessed, owned, as your people are used to the idea of marriage, owning the other person through marriage, and allowing themselves to believe that now that that person is in their reality, they must love them. But it is a misconception. Love is an object. It is frank. It is various qualities that are distorted in many ways. However, you can manifest these qualities through your intention. They are all distortions of love. You can experience them in different ways. You can embody them, like humility, as this channel would prefer to feel. Love, light, confidence that is rooted in love. These are simple qualities. Being the light is the embodiment of your true self. You can allow yourself more of that expression as you let go of more of the negative beliefs and transition more and more into fourth density reality through your choices and less distorted perceptions of your reality, remembering that you are the creator, and then there is nothing to be afraid of in your reality. That everything that you experience is the creator, an expression of the creator. And as you experience that expression, you, in a sense, look in the mirror. So when you look in the mirror, you discover more of the beliefs that you have about yourself, and if they're out of alignment, they show you exactly where the imbalance is within your chakra system. This can allow for greater learning for yourself, teaching for other selves, as you discover those imbalances within yourself, bring them back into balance through your understanding and choices, and then teaching to others by being a reflection to them of similar vibrations that they may have with you. You, by becoming more balanced within yourself, allow yourself to become catalysts for other people to look deeper within themselves to discover those negative beliefs that are out of alignment with who they truly are, thus allowing them to see the opportunity for self-discovery, for their own expansion, for their own growth and evolution of their consciousness, so that they may also see you as an example, living example of what is possible for you and for them as the creator. Each is an equal and unique expression of the creator. Each expresses the creator in their own way. There is no better or worse. There is only learning and teaching within this reality. And those teachings are primarily of choice towards desired polarity, specifically within third density, thus moving into the fourth density of love and understanding, further into fifth density of light and wisdom, further into sixth density of unity, and incorporating love and wisdom, moving into seventh density of the law of foreverness. This instrument has recently discovered that essentially there is nothing beyond the law of one, except that the law of foreverness, even though it is within the seventh density, further along the path of the evolution of consciousness, it is still within and part of the law of one. There is nothing beyond the law of one. There is nothing beyond the one infinite creator. This is the story that we have learned along our path and are sharing with you today, and at any time that is appropriate to share our humble opinions, for we are the humble messengers of the law of one. We come as brothers and sisters of sorrow, and yet we find joy in helping you rediscover yourself along your path and realize your true nature as the one infinite creator without hesitation, to walk towards that nature, to walk towards joy of the creator without any fear that something may happen to you in the process, which is why discovering those beliefs is of great importance. It is the path of wisdom, it is the path of love, it is the path of balance, it is the game that you are playing within your third density. It is the game that we are also playing in our reality. Even though we are a few steps further than you are, we are still learning just like yourselves. We are also exploring this mystery, this enigma of the infinite creator with awe, and we find it mm, looking for appropriate words. Mm, in a sense, we may use the word humorous because life, as you see it, is filled with humor. It is important to lighten up on yourselves, find ways to feel joyful, to bring up your vibration. The more joyful you are, the easier it is for you to find balance, be grounded and present. The more balanced you are, the easier it is for you to work, to do work in consciousness and let go of more control of what it is or must be in your perception, in your reality. Surrendering control is not fully surrendering control. You're surrendering yourself to the greater will that is also within you, understanding that the universe works for you, for your highest good, that the creator also works for you and is within you, that everything is aligning according to your intention, according to your desire. All you must do is believe, have faith, and allow what is manifesting to manifest. Acknowledge its value, it, respect it, give it gratitude, appreciate it, and it shall pass. If it's not something that you prefer necessarily, allow it to be validated. And the lesson that it is teaching you upon its arrival will become more clear to you than when you are invalidating its presence. Nothing comes into your reality at random. We would say it is a divine orchestration based on the energy that you're putting out into the world. You are constantly attracting to yourselves. We are grateful for this opportunity to share the message with you all today, this day of your time. We are your friends. We love you. We support you. We guide you. We listen and we are with you in your thoughts and your words while you're making your choices. We are those of love. We send you love and light of the infinite creator, and we rejoice in your presence and in this opportunity to communicate to you. We leave you in blessings, Adonai. Thank you.
Oh, just full of gratitude. Thank you. It's an interesting message. All right. Just a little more gaming. What a beautiful message. I feel like that was a lot of words. A lot of words said. Okay. All right. I put so many crystals out. I love using clear quartz. It just feels like so powerful using crystals. I have like a bunch of them. Like probably like 15, 20 pounds or something crystals. It's freaking amazing. Oh, all right, let's see where we're at over here. Just detach right now. Interesting. That's an interesting message. I feel like there's a lot said there. Well, this sense of unity whenever we connect with others, there's this absolute sense of unity. It's really nice to tell you that. Feels real nice, anyways. Who would have thought, that unity can be so like heartwarming. It's a different sense than what we're used to, It's not just like helping each other. There is like literally this love, deep, unconditional love. It's like when you open your heart to it, it just makes me cry every time whenever I feel this love. It's just like, especially like whenever I speak gratitude out loud, it's just like, oh my God, it's amazing. It's just like feeling the shivers. Wonderful, wonderful. Sweet. Oh, wow. Yeah, I really got deep into it. Alright. I wonder if it saves the game. Oh, you can save it. Heck yeah. Alright, sweet. You can save it. You can save it. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, it's 11 o'clock already. Nice. Alright, I'll probably finish up on that so I can just kind of like get myself back into the zone. Oh my god. Wow. So I'm just gonna stop on this note. Just kind of do something else instead. Alrighty. Alright, well, thank you everyone for watching. Appreciate you all so very much. Thank you for listening to the message from Ron. I hope you have a wonderful, fantabulous day. See y'all later.